The first thing Nia noticed about Maplewood High wasn't the manicured football field or the shiny plaques in the lobby. It was the way the chatter in the hallway stopped when she walked by, just for a second, like someone hit mute on the world before the whispers rushed back, louder. That's her? Detroit, right? Why's she dressed like that? She tightened her grip on her backpack straps, the fabric rough under her fingers. Same old story. New school, same stairs. Her homeroom teacher, Miss Kendrick, sighed as she handed Nia her schedule. You'll need to adjust your style here, she said, eyeing Nia's hoodie and braids like they'd personally offended her. A few kids snickered. Nia forced her face blank. Adjust. Like when her abuela told her to smile nicer so store clerks wouldn't follow her. Like when her last principal said her braids distracted the boys. She swallowed the heat creeping up her throat. La quietud es fuerza. Stillness is strength. Then he walked in. Dylan Prescott, king of Maplewood according to the giant Go Prescotts. Posters in the hall. Football captain, crisp polo, smile like a knife. He leaned against her desk, close enough she caught the sharp sting of his cologne. Nia? Hair era? He butchered her last name, grinning when his friends laughed. You sure you're in the right place? This ain't the hood. The class erupted. Nia's nails dug into her palms. She could have corrected him. Could have said her name was Herrera, rolling the R like her dad taught her. But she knew how this went. Talk back, and they'd call her angry. Stay quiet, and they'd call her weak. Dylan took her silence as permission. By lunch, he'd accidentally bumped her tray, mac and cheese splattered on her shoes, joked that her scholarship was a diversity handout, and asked if she'd ever seen a real school before. Nia kept walking. But then, the locker, her assigned one, right next to Dylan's. Someone had taped a photo inside, a Detroit crime scene headline circled in red. Welcome home, scrawled underneath. Her breath hitched. The hallway blurred. For a second she imagined slamming Dylan's head into the metal, just like she'd done to that kid in Detroit who put his hands on her. Control the storm inside. A cough snapped her back. Senor Ruiz, the janitor, was mopping nearby. He didn't look at her, just slid a folded note into her locker as he passed. Inside, in messy Spanish, Los débiles ladran, los fuertes esperan. She almost laughed. The weak bark, the strong wait. Yeah, she could wait. Dylan rounded the corner, smirking at her frozen stance. Problem, Hair Era? Nia slammed the locker shut, the bang echoing like a gunshot. The hall went dead silent. Dylan's smile flickered. For the first time, Nia met his eyes. Herrera, she said softly. Then she walked away, his laughter brittle behind her. The bell rang, and Nia bolted from the laughter, still clinging to the hallway like cheap cologne. She didn't stop until she hit the chain-link fence behind the school, lungs burning. The note from Senor Ruiz crumpled in her fist. Wait for what? Another slur? Another accidental shove into lockers? She pulled out her phone, thumb hovering over her dad's contact. But what would she say? They're doing it again. He'd tell her to breathe, to control it, like always. The gym bag at her feet held her real armor, hand wraps, gloves, the smell of leather and sweat. Johnson's boxing academy was stitched across the side in peeling letters, her dad's pride and the only place she didn't have to explain herself. She yanked the hoodie over her braids and took the long route, past the diner where Maplewood High's elite loitered. Dylan's voice carried through the open window. Think she's tough? Please, she'll crack by Friday. Nia kept walking. The gym was a sanctuary of cracked mirrors and the rhythmic thud of fists on bags. Her dad, Lucas, nodded from the ring where he was coaching a scrawny kid. You're late, he said, but his eyes scanned her face. He knew. Of course he knew. Got held up, Nia muttered. ducking into the locker room. She changed fast, wrapping her hands tight enough to hurt. The wraps were her abuela's trick. Wrap your hands before you wrap your heart. A way to channel the fury before it channeled you. When she stepped out, Lucas was waiting. Spar with Mateo. He jerked his chin toward the ring where a hulking guy with a nose like a broken fence post smirked at her. Mateo was a regular, a semi-pro who thought women belonged in yoga classes, not rings. "Come on, Chiquita," he taunted, rolling his shoulders. "I'll go easy." Nia climbed in without a word. The bell dinged. Mateo lunged first, a lazy right hook. She slipped under it, her braids grazing his elbow as she countered with a body shot that made him oof. The gym's regulars paused to watch. Mateo's smirk vanished. He came harder, jabs, feints, but Nia weaved through them like smoke. "Control the storm," her dad's voice warned from the corner. She could have ended it in the third round. Mateo left his chin wide open, panting, but she pulled the punch at the last second, tapping his jaw instead of shattering it. The bell rang. Mateo stared at her, chest heaving. The hell was that? Nia unwrapped her hands. Mercy. Later, over lukewarm pizza in the gym's office, Lucas finally asked, "They messing with you?" Nia picked pepperoni off the slice. The usual, "Fight back? Not my style." Lucas grunted. "It's not about style, it's about when." He tossed her a newspaper clipping, a Detroit headline about her last school. "Teen suspended after altercation leaves bully hospitalized." Nia flinched. "That wasn't—" "I know." Lucas folded the clipping into her palm. "But you ain't that scared kid anymore, and they don't know what you are." The next morning, Nia found a fresh note taped inside her locker. "La paciencia es amarga, pero su fruto es dulce." Patience is bitter, but its fruit is sweet. Señor Ruiz mopped nearby, whistling. Dylan's voice slithered over her shoulder. "Aw, you got a secret admirer?" He snatched the note, grinning as his friends circled. "What's this, Hair Era? Love notes in—" He squinted at the Spanish. "The hell does this even say?" Nia reached for it. Dylan yanked it higher, laughing, until Keisha, the Haitian girl from her chem class, shouldered through. "It says I'm an illiterate prick," she deadpanned. The crowd tittered. Dylan's face darkened. For the first time, Nia smiled. Nia should have seen it coming. 3 days after the locker note incident, Maplewood High's rumor mill hit warp speed. By second period, everyone was whispering behind their hands, shooting her looks like she'd stolen the Declaration of Independence. She didn't get why until chemistry lab, when Jake accidentally bumped her and hissed, "Give it back, thief." Keisha slammed her textbook shut. "Oh, please. If Nia wanted your crusty wallet, she'd take your dignity too. Oh, wait." She eyed Jake's grease-stained jeans. Too late. But the damage was done. Miss Rivera's classroom smelled like chalk and old coffee. The only teacher who didn't treat Nia like a walking detention risk tapped her desk. "You know why you're here?" Nia clenched her jaw. "Because Dylan Prescott's a liar." "I believe you." Miss Rivera slid a phone across the desk. Security footage of Dylan slipping something into Nia's backpack yesterday. But Principal Harris won't suspend a Prescott without concrete proof. Her mouth twisted. Politics. Nia's stomach dropped. Of course. Dylan's dad owned half the town. Miss Rivera leaned in. "You've got 2 choices. Take the hit, 3-day suspension, stain on your record. Or—" She nodded out the window where Dylan held court by the bleachers. "Give me time to dig." Nia stared at her hands. The same hands that could have laid Dylan out in the cafeteria. The same hands now shaking. Not from fear, but from holding back a hurricane. "La quietud es fuerza," she whispered. The walk home was a gauntlet. "Hope you like juvie, ghetto girl," someone yelled from a passing car. Nia's phone buzzed. "Dad." "Heard. "You good?" She typed, deleted, retyped. "I almost lost control today." His reply was instant. "Then you're already winning." A shadow fell across the sidewalk. Señor Ruiz, trash bag in hand. "Escucha," he muttered, nodding toward the alley. Dylan's lackey Ethan was crumpling what looked like a wallet. Nia's wallet. Señor Ruiz spat. "Los cobardes necesitan pruebas falsas." Cowards need fake proof. He pressed a burner phone into her palm, footage of Ethan planting it. "For when la tormenta comes." The storm. Nia pocketed it, heart pounding. Let Dylan think he'd won. The best traps worked both ways. The locker room was empty when Nia got there. Just the drip of a broken shower head and the smell of mildew and cheap body spray. She exhaled, rolling her shoulders. Finally, quiet. Then the door slammed open. Dylan strolled in with Ethan and Jake flanking him like prison guards. "Look who's still here," he drawled, kicking a bench into Nia's path. "Guess suspension wasn't enough for you, huh, thief?" Nia kept packing her bag. Slow, deliberate. Control the storm. Ethan snickered. Maybe she's deaf now, too. Jake yanked her backpack, spilling her gym clothes. Oops. The sound of her water bottle cracking against tile snapped something in Nia's chest. Dylan leaned in, close enough that she could count the pores on his nose. "You don't belong here. Everyone knows it." His breath smelled like spearmint gum and entitlement. "Why don't you crawl back to Detroit before—" Nia moved. Not to hit, not to shove. Just one step forward, close enough that Dylan's sneakers squeaked as he stumbled back. The locker room went dead silent. For the first time, Dylan Prescott looked uncertain. Then his phone rang. The shrill tone broke the spell. Dylan recovered fast, flashing his shark smile as he answered. "Yeah, Dad?" "Nah, just handling some trash." He eyed Nia as he said it, loud enough for the guys in the hall to hear. Ethan pulled out his own phone. "Say cheese, Herrera." The flash blinded her. By the time Nia blinked the spots away, they were gone. Just her, a broken water bottle, and a video already uploading to social media with the caption, "Detroit rat begs for mercy." The walk to the bus was worse than the locker room. Whispers, snickers. Someone muttered, "thief," as she passed. Keisha fell into step beside her. "They're saying you cried." Nia's hands fisted. "I didn't." "I know." Keisha handed her a folded flyer, a self-defense workshop at Johnson's gym. "But they won't stop until you make them." Nia stared at the date. Saturday, the day of Dylan's precious championship game. She pocketed the flyer. At home, Nia found her dad cleaning gloves in the gym's back room. He took one look at her face and said, "Tell me." She did. Every word, every taunt, the video. Lucas listened, wiping down a pair of wraps. When she finished, he hung them up and said, "You held back." Nia blinked. "What?" "In that locker room. You could have laid him out." Her dad met her eyes. "But you didn't." Nia's throat burned. "Because I'm weak." Lucas laughed, a rough, proud sound. "Because you're stronger." He tossed her a fresh set of wraps. "Now suit up. We're working on counters." The flyer burned a hole in Nia's pocket all week. Every time Dylan smirked at her in the halls, every time someone accidentally bumped into her, she pressed her thumb against the paper's edge like a promise. Saturday. But truth had a way of leaking out faster than she planned. Thursday morning, the school exploded. Nia walked into first period to find students huddled around phones, whispering. Keisha cornered her at the door, grinning. "Check the Maplewood gossip page." A new post, anonymous, with the title, "Dylan Prescott's Greatest Hits." The video montage was brutal. Dylan shoving a freshman into a locker. Dylan calling Miss Rivera a border hopper. Dylan laughing as Jake snapped a girl's bra strap. "Relax, it's just a joke." Worst of all, Dylan bragging to Ethan last week, voice tinny through phone audio. Nia's wallet? Dude, I planted that shit. My dad'll make sure Harris buries it. The comments section was a wildfire. Knew he was a dick, but damn, wait, so Nia didn't steal anything? Prescott's gonna lose his shit when he sees this. Nia's hands shook. She looked at Keisha. Keisha winked. By lunch, the energy had shifted. Dylan's usual table was half empty. His remaining lackeys sat stiff-backed, avoiding eye contact. Nia took her usual corner seat, but this time she didn't slouch, didn't make herself small. Dylan stormed in, face blotchy. He zeroed in on her immediately. You did this. The cafeteria hushed. Nia took a slow sip of water, set it down, looked him dead in the eye for the first time. Prove it. A gasp rippled through the room. Dylan's fists clenched. You're dead, Herrera. Herrera, she corrected, loud enough for everyone to hear. Someone snickered. Dylan's mask cracked, just for a second, just long enough for Nia to see the fear underneath. After school, Señor Ruiz intercepted her at the lockers. Tienes esto. He pressed a flash drive into her palm. Security footage. Dylan's Pepito can't delete this one. Nia frowned. Why help me? He shrugged. En mi país, bullies like him, they become generals, or corpses. A dark chuckle. I prefer the second option, but... He nodded to the flyer peeking from her pocket. Tu camino es mejor. Your way's better. At the gym, Nia found her dad reviewing the flash drive footage. Lucas whistled. Kid's got a future in politics, lying with a straight face like that. He tossed her the gloves. You ready for Saturday? Nia rolled her shoulders. The storm inside her had gone quiet. Not gone, just coiled, waiting. Yeah, she said. I'm ready. The cafeteria buzzed louder than usual, less with laughter, more with the electric tension of a crowd waiting for a fight. Nia could feel eyes tracking her as she walked to her usual corner table. Whispers slithered through the room like snakes. Did you see his face when she said, prove it? Dude's been off the rails all morning. Think she's actually scared of him? Nia wasn't scared. She was done. The flyer in her pocket crinkled as she sat. Tomorrow, just one more day. Then the room went quiet. Dylan stood in the doorway, his Letterman jacket hanging off one shoulder like a cape. His eyes locked onto Nia like crosshairs. Here it came. He didn't bother with subtlety this time. Dylan slammed his tray down on her table hard enough to make her milk carton jump. You think you're slick? His voice was low, shaking. Posting that shit? Turning people against me? Nia took a bite of her sandwich. Chewed. Swallowed. You did that yourself. A few nervous titters from nearby tables. Dylan's face flushed crimson. He leaned in, palms flat on the table. Pick up your trash and move. Now. Nia didn't blink. No. The cafeteria collectively held its breath. Dylan's smile turned vicious. He grabbed her tray and flipped it, mac and cheese splattering across her jeans, her shoes, the floor. Oops. His friends laughed on cue. Guess you'll have to crawl after all. Nia looked down at the mess, then up at Dylan. Something in her face made his smirk falter. She stood slowly, not cowering, not pleading, just standing. Pick it up, she said. Dylan scoffed. Or what? Nia tilted her head. Or I'll make you. Silence. Then, holy shit, someone whispered. Dylan's punch was sloppy. Telegraphed from a mile away, all rage and no technique. Nia sidestepped like it was a drill at the gym, letting his momentum carry him past her. The cafeteria erupted. Chairs screeched as students scrambled back, phones already up to film. Dylan caught himself on a table whirling around. Nia didn't raise her fists, didn't even tense, just stood there, loose and ready. Last chance. Walk away. Dylan lunged again. This time Nia moved first. The workshop at Johnson's gym had run long, 20 kids from school, half of them girls who'd never thrown a punch before, all wide-eyed as Nia demonstrated how to break a wrist grip. Keisha had filmed the whole thing, cackling when Ethan from the football team got pinned by a freshman. Nia was still buzzing with it as she stepped into the alley behind the gym, the summer air thick with the smell of hot asphalt and distant rain. That's when the shadows moved. Dylan stepped into the light, flanked by Jake and two guys Nia didn't recognize. College-aged, muscled like they spent more time in the weight room than the classroom. "Workshop's over, Herrera," Dylan sneered, rolling the R like it was a slur. Nia's gym bag slipped from her shoulder, landing softly at her feet. She didn't bother with pretense. "You brought friends." One of the strangers cracked his knuckles. "Heard you like putting hands on people." The lie was so bold it almost made her laugh. Almost. Dylan's smile was all teeth. "You humiliated me. Now I return the favor." He pulled out his phone, camera ready. "Say cheese." Nia exhaled. Then she moved. 1 year later, the bell above the gym door chimed as Nia taped up her hands. Summer sunlight streamed through the high windows, painting the mats gold. Johnson's boxing academy smelled the same: leather, sweat, and the faint metallic tang of blood from split lips, but the energy was different now. Brighter. "Yo, Coach Nia!" A lanky 13-year-old named Malik bounced on his toes near the heavy bag. "Watch my combo," she smirked. "Show me." He launched into it, jab, cross, duck, just like she'd taught him. Clunky, but clean. Nia nodded approval. "Better. Keep your elbows." The door creaked open again. A kid stood there, maybe 15, gripping a backpack like a shield. Pale, freckled, with a black eye blooming purple under his left eye. His gaze darted from the posters of her dad's Marine Corps days to the self-defense for all sign Nia had painted last fall. Malik froze mid-punch. You lost, dude?" The kid swallowed hard. I heard this was the place to—" His voice cracked. "To learn how to not be scared." The gym went quiet. Nia knew that look. The hollow cheeks, the hunched shoulders. She'd worn them herself. She tossed him a pair of gloves. "First lesson," she said. "Fear's just fuel you haven't burned yet." Later, over protein shakes, Keisha scrolled through her phone. "Dylan's selling used cars in Toledo now." She snorted. "Karma's a bitch with terrible commission rates." Nia laughed but didn't gloat. Some victories didn't need celebrating. Her dad clapped a hand on her shoulder, nodding to where the new kid, Ryan, he'd whispered, was tentatively shadowboxing as Malik corrected his stance. "Look at that," Lucas murmured. "Cycles broke." Nia watched Ryan throw his first real punch, shaky but fierce. The sound it made against the bag was like a door slamming shut on the past. "Yeah," she said, "it is." At its heart, Silent Storm teaches us that true strength isn't measured by how loudly you fight, but by the quiet courage to endure, the wisdom to choose your battles, and the grace to break cycles without becoming what you despise. Nia's journey mirrors a universal truth. Injustice thrives in silence, but it starves when met with unshakable dignity. Her restraint wasn't weakness. It was the steel spine of someone who understood that real power lies in control, not chaos. And when she finally stood her ground, it wasn't just for herself. It was for everyone who'd ever been made to feel small. The story whispers a challenge. Why do we mistake kindness for surrender? Why do we assume the quiet ones are afraid rather than gathering their strength? Prejudice and bullying are storms that pass, but the roots of self-respect, the kind Nia nurtured in that boxing gym, grow deeper with every act of resilience. This isn't just about schoolyard fights or social hierarchies. It's about the workplaces where toxicity is tolerated, the families where hurt is normalized, the communities where difference is weaponized. The lesson: You don't owe anyone your pain, and sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away until the day you choose not to. Now, we'd love to hear from you. Have you ever faced a moment where silence became your strength, or witnessed someone rise above prejudice with grace? Drop a comment below. Your story might be the light someone needs today. If this resonated with you, hit the like button to spread its message and subscribe for more stories that turn struggle into wisdom. Remember, the loudest voices don't always win. Sometimes, the softest step forward is the one that changes everything. May your storms leave you stronger, and your quietest moments be your most powerful. With warmth, Legacy Lens.